Welcome to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg and I'm continuing in this video my Harlan Ellison series. Seem to have a thing for controversial authors. That's only because so many people do so many poorly thought out things in their lives and create so much drama in their lives. And when people get wind of it, it causes scandals. Hardly any well-known authors have been able to avoid causing scandals. It's unfortunate, but it is um, the truth with things. People are just assholes. Okay, um, and so Harlan Ellison has done a lot of controversial things. One of the controversial things he did early in his career was he went out and hooked up with street gangs and learned about them and used that as fuel for a whole series of short stories about New York street gangs. One of those stories is a story I want to talk about tonight, a story titled The Rough Boys. This is number 32 on my Harlan Ellison bibliography. It was first published in a magazine called Guilty in November of 1956. And unlike the last Harlan Ellison I reviewed, the girl with the bedroom eyes, I believe it was. While I'm sure he looked forward to a paycheck from this story, this one was done with a little more love, and it shows. It's only a short story, about 10 pages in the book where I have it. It was collected into originally it was put together in a paperback. What was it, titled Junkies or something like that? Um, I'm worrying that I'm mixing it up with the William Burroughs Junkie novel. But it was something along those lines. And later on, in 2004, a company had published this edition. Severn House published this hardcover of that book, retitled Children of the Streets. Came out in August of 2004. And this is a beautiful hardcover. And it does contain the Rough Boys. Now, in the Rough Boys, you get these two hitmen. Seems to be a theme. I just did a Stephen King story about a hitman hired to do a hit on a pet cat. In this story, you have two hitmen that were hired by a syndicate to rub out a political enemy. And because of the politics, the DA is hot on this case. And so the hitmen have to lay low for a while. And they're in a poor neighborhood where there are gangs. But these guys are hitmen. They're tough guys, right? And they're walking down the street, and these guys, they're successful hitmen. They make a lot of money, and they're working for people that have tons of money. And so they're wearing expensive suits, and they got a wad of cash in their pocket, and they pull some money out, and they ask this neighborhood boy to go buy them some food, bring it on back. The boy does. They open the door for him, and he comes in, and he holds the door open so his friends could come in. And they were a local gang. And that's when things get really interesting. This is I don't think this is Ellison's best I'm not giving this a top tail, but it's a really, really good story. Way better than Girl with the Bedroom Eyes. This is an enjoyable story. This is recommended and worth reading. It has an interesting twist at the end. Very well written. You get a good sense of the characters in this story, a good sense of the place, a good sense of the situation. The plot moves along good. It's just a very well crafted story. This is Ellison starting to hit his stride and become the writer that we will love him for and write his best work. Um, Not quite there yet, but man, he's getting close with this one. But he's mixing it in with the other stuff that he wrote to pay the bills. But I feel like this is the kind of stories that he really wanted to write at this time. This is why he was a writer, was to do stuff like this one. And so I believe you will enjoy this. Definitely, if you're an Ellison completist, you need to get a hold of this or the earlier version of it and read the story, or the Amazing Guilty if you can find that. Um, Other people who just really like a tense, short thriller would definitely like this. Pick it up, read the whole book, but read The Rough Boys in particular. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. This is, Ellison, I keep saying Ellison wrote a lot more than just I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. That's a great story, but he wrote a lot of other great stories too, and you really should experience. If you love I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, if you love the tone that Ellison put into that story, you should really give his other work a try. His other work isn't as horrifying as this. It isn't as science fictional as I Have No Mouth, I Must Scream, but his other work, like The Rough Boys, is really excellent writing. And I'm glad Ellison is getting attention again. For after his death, he did kind of fall out of favor. He did some unfortunate things because he did have a mental illness, as we found out afterward. That is why he behaved so poorly at times. Um, but he was always a brilliant writer and always a lot of fun to read his essays or listen to him talk. Um, he didn't pull punches, and he told it like he saw it. Used a lot of common sense, but then he had no filter, so he didn't care who he pissed off in the way that he talked about things, and so he did definitely piss a lot of people off. But his stories have that edge, but are really strong, impactful, very well crafted stories. This guy he should be taking his place right now among all the other great American writers. He is that good. He's less popular because he didn't write novels, and everybody today, I hear it over and over and over and again. I don't like short stories. I only like longer works. I like novels, and I like mega fantasy series that go on and on and on for 15, 20 books. Um, Open your mind and give something like this a chance. You're going to find some really brilliant work. And Ellison should take his place among all the other great American men of letters. Maybe we can get him there. That would be nice. He deserves it. So, have you ever read the Rough Boys? Leave your comments in the comment section of the video for everybody to appreciate it, especially if you have any particular stories about Ellison at that time. Love to hear that kind of stuff. I don't know a lot of that. So do that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, And come on back for more. Lot more Ellison to go. We're only in 1956. We're reaching the end of 1956, but we actually do have quite a ways to go before we get into 1957. And the next story from 1956 on my list is called Both Ends of the Candle. It's going back to those erotic stories that he did. So this one's probably not going to be as good, but we'll see. I'll give it a shot. Give it a chance, go into it with an open mind, and maybe it'll be a pretty good story. It's by Ellison, so there's certainly the possibility that he sneaked in a lot of good things into a crappy story. So come on back for that and all the other Harlan Ellison, Stephen King, and everybody else that J.G. Ballard and all the other authors that I have been reading and reviewing on this channel. And I hope you'll join me.